Greetings, lovely ones, and welcome to the midweek rune reading for the week to the weekend. And I've not been around for a few weeks, so I'm back. I'm looking forward to sharing some rune videos and tarot videos with you and other magical videos over the coming days, weeks, and months. So, the rune reading for the week, the first, so we are in June, and it's the month of midsummer and midwinter. I don't want to know how that happened. That's an insane prospect to me, but we are in that midpoint of the year, the axis maybe of the year, which makes sense for the first rune that we have for this time. This is Iwaz, and it is the rune of the Utri. It is the rune of Yggdrasil itself. If you can equate the runes with tarot, you might think of it to be a bit like the death card, though for me it really does have that journeying between the worlds, that as above so below, as the yew tree is a tree of rebirth, of renewal, but of course, you know, it is a bit deadly and poisonous, so it has all that medicine, that magic in it, but also although the ash tree is most commonly known to be the tree of Yggdrasil, there are texts that state that it actually, oh no, it was the yew. Whatever works for you best. But we can look at both aspects of both trees, I think, to look at the world tree. And as you'll know, if you know any of the myths and the texts, in the Old Norse stories, there are often many names for one thing, and so even if it has got a different name or a different attribute, it doesn't mean it's a different thing. So we can use attributes of the yew or the ash to be the world tree. So here is Iwaz. Here is an aspect of life, death, rebirth, of the world tree, of journeying between those worlds. It's, as the rune of the yew tree, it is linked very much to Ull, the god who you might not have heard of so well. You know, he was a very well-revered and popular Norse god. How do we know that? Because there are plenty of place names named after him. So if, you know, you sort of, even if a god was mentioned a lot in the text, that was what people chose to write down, or that was what was popular at the time of writing, which actually was after the Viking Age, when it was written down, by a good couple of 100 years. So Ull, even though he's hardly mentioned in the sagas, in the Eddas, in the stories, we know he's popular. He was popular because there are plenty of place names named after him, sacred place names. His Ull's Grove, Ull's Temple, Ull's Sanctuary, Ull's Field. So he is named. You know, was very popular, and there is a bit of a competitiveness between Odin and Ull. So he may have been one of those gods that maybe was a bit older in the stories in certain places, was a bit knocked off his throne. To be fair, on my altar, Ull often takes a stage dive off the altar if he's put too much close to Odin. He's not happy going too close to Odin. So that competitive spirit lives on my altar. So Ull was a god of skiing and a god of hunting, and he was a god of the yew groves. His home was in the yew groves. So hunting, and with the bow and arrow particularly, is what he is connected with. So Iwaz being linked to archery, to the hunter, is really apt, because we have Ull, who was the god of archery and of hunting, and then we have the yew tree, and the yew tree is in some of the first bows that were discovered, ever created, they were made out of yew wood. So we have this ancient connection to archery, to the bow, to yew, and of course, you know, archery is as a hunting sport. It is there to, of course, kill, because you're hungry, you want to eat something. And then you are having the death aspect, but you have the nourishment and the life aspect, because that death, honouring the death of the animal that you may have hunted many, many years ago, you don't have to do it now. You have the food to nourish you, and you have the clothing, the furs to keep you warm and keep you safe. So Iwaz has that aspect of aiming for what you want, being in a place of transformation, transition, and being the hunter in your life, or the huntress, and also allowing for letting go, for kind of going to the bone, going to the heart, to the depth of matters, but also receiving nourishment and protection. It is one of the protective runes, and it's more of an active protection. So when you receive Iwaz in a reading, it can be a sign that you do have that protection there, whether it is divine protection or that you have what you need to get what you need and to protect yourself in a situation. There is great wisdom of being between the worlds, the travelling around Yggdrasil, the shamanic path of Iwaz, and I will do a whole video on each rune, so it'll be a bit I'm going off on one now, but that was the first rune we had, and I thought it was interesting because, you know, Megan Rose's work, she always talks about Iwaz being this axis, this central axis of the world tree, and at this time of mid-summer, midwinter, we're at that central point where things are going to move over that axis into the second part of the year. And talking of the year, we have Yera, which means year. So we have the second rune, Yera. I'm aware I have a Halloween mug in June. What's not to love? So Yera, the only rune which has two separate parts on it, and it is perfect for this time of year because it is the meeting of two halves. It is really a rune of, you know, agriculture, of the life cycle, of planting your seeds and harvesting. You know, it could be a gardener's rune. It really could be a rune where we plant those seeds, and when we've nurtured them and nourished them, we're ready to harvest them. And it depends where you are on that cycle. For new ideas you're planting now, for new goals that you're working towards, or perhaps you're reevaluating how far you've come this year, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what would you like to get rid of, what are you ready to move forward with. So we have this point of midpoint of the year, and something that Maggie also talked about is that this kind of could be the axis that Yera goes around. So it really is a very powerful point of the year, you know, astronomically, astrologically, energetically. We are at the point where here in the Northern Hemisphere, we have these super long days and the light is fantastic. There's a sadness in that I always feel like, oh, but it's going to get darker from now on. So as the seed of light is in the winter solstice, the seed of dark is in the summer solstice, and we can see that in this duality of the Yera rune. So where are you on this journey? Are you planting new seeds? Are you adjusting? Are you saying, okay, I did that now, I'd like to try this? Or are you harvesting your results? Where are you on the journey as you approach this midsummer time? And last but not least, maroon, algaes. So we have the protection of Iwaz, which is bow arrow. It's like, this is focus protection. It is active protection. It's doing the work, doing the things that are helping you to be in a place of power. Algaes is like, it is arms outstretched to the heavens. It can be seen as the flight of a bird, of a Valkyrie, the footsteps of a bird. It is seen as I said, like hands open to the above. And it is a rune which allows us to be in a place of divine protection. It is the higher self. It is the swan maidens, the Valkyries. They are lifting us out of a situation. If we call on our Dizir, on our guides, on our ancestors, on our animal guides, whatever, or the gods, whatever you call to and you work with, this is the symbol that that those prayers will be answered. Those openings to magic, to divine, to healing will be answered. So we have the active protection of Iwaz, and we have the spiritual protection, the divine connection with here lovely algaes. And so with that, I will leave you in peace. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Please come and join. Check out, I've got some awesome courses on my website. We have a Freya course over the solstice, and at the end of the month I'm doing a Landvetter, a land spirit weekend online workshop, and that's going to help you really tune into the spirits of the land where you live. So go and check that out at lauradelligan.com and book your readings, and I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye.